The Kethvar hunting party had been tracking the lone human for 3 solar cycles across the crystalline forests of Zephyr Prime. Their plasma rifles hummed with deadly energy as they positioned themselves in the violet canopy, their 4 eyes perfectly adapted for long-range precision shooting. "Target acquired," whispered Velthar through his comm implant, his primary scope centered on the human's chest. The creature moved with surprising grace for such a primitive species, but it was still just meat and bone. Distance 400 meters. Wind negligible, Commander Zektos observed from his elevated position, mandibles clicking with satisfaction. The human had cost them valuable time and 3 good hunters. This would end the chase. All units prepare to fire on my mark. The human, Sergeant Maria Santos of the Terran Colonial Marines, crouched behind a cluster of quartz formations, seemingly unaware of the death closing in around her. Her breathing was steady, her movements calculated. The Kethvar had been hunting her since her dropship crashed, picking off her squad one by one with their advanced weaponry and superior technology. But they had made one critical error. They assumed she was running. "Mark," Zektos commanded. 6 plasma bolts erupted from the canopy simultaneously, their blue-white streams converging on Santos's position. The quartz exploded in a shower of superheated fragments, and the hunters chittered with triumph. "Target eliminated," Velthar reported, lowering his rifle. "Human neutralized." Then the impossible happened. A single projectile, a primitive chemical-propelled bullet, tore through Velthar's torso, the kinetic impact sending him tumbling from his perch. Before the other hunters could react, another shot echoed through the forest. Then another. Each report was followed by the wet thud of a body hitting the ground. Santos emerged from behind a different crystal formation entirely, her rifle smoking. She had anticipated their ambush, used their own coordination against them. While they focused on her decoy position, her pack and jacket arranged to look like a crouching figure, she had circled around to their flank. Zektos stared in disbelief as his remaining hunters fell one by one. The human was moving, shooting, and repositioning with mechanical precision. Each shot found its mark despite the hunters' advanced armor, their sophisticated camouflage, their superior positioning. "Impossible," he hissed, raising his own weapon. "Humans are supposed to be inferior marksmen. Our intelligence reports that the bullet took him in the shoulder, spinning him around but not killing him." He crashed through branches and hit the forest floor hard, his rifle skittering away across the crystalline ground. Santos approached, her weapon trained on him, her face carved from stone. Blood trickled from a dozen small cuts where quartz shrapnel had found her, but her hands remained steady. "Your intelligence reports," she said, her voice carrying the weight of a dozen dead comrades, "were written by people who never bothered to ask why humans dominated their homeworld for millennia before reaching the stars." Zektos tried to reach for his sidearm, but another bullet shattered his wrist. He screamed in pain and rage. "We're not the strongest species," Santos continued, stepping closer. "We're not the fastest or the smartest or the most technologically advanced. But we're the only species that spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing each other from a distance." She gestured to her rifle, an ancient design by galactic standards, using chemical propellants and metal projectiles instead of energy weapons. "While your people were developing plasma technology and energy shields, my ancestors were calculating wind drift, bullet drop, and target lead time. They were learning to control their heartbeat, their breathing, their very thoughts." Zektos's mandibles trembled. You set a trap. Used yourself as bait." "Wrong again." Santos knelt beside him, pressing the muzzle of her rifle against his primary eye. "I didn't use myself as bait. I used my dead friends as motivation." The commander's remaining eyes widened as understanding dawned. "You're going to kill me." "No," Santos said, surprising him. She stood and stepped back. "I'm going to let you live. You're going to go back to your fleet and tell them exactly what happened here. You're going to tell them that one human with a primitive projectile weapon killed 6 of your best hunters in under 30 seconds. She shouldered her rifle and began walking away, then paused. "And you're going to tell them that we don't miss twice." As Santos disappeared into the crystal forest, Zektos lay bleeding among the bodies of his hunting party. Around him, the violet trees swayed in an alien breeze, and somewhere in the distance, a human dropship's engines began to roar. The Kethvar would return to their fleet with a new understanding. Humans weren't just another species to be hunted. They were the galaxy's apex predators, forged in the fires of endless warfare, masters of death at any distance. And they had just declared themselves the hunters. 3 days later, when the rescue beacon led other human forces to Zephyr Prime, they found Zektos still alive, clutching a message crystal containing his testimony. The Kethvar fleet had already jumped to hyperspace, fleeing to the far edges of known space. The crystal's message was simple: do not hunt the humans. They do not miss twice. Word spread through the galaxy like wildfire. The Terran colonial marines became legend, their reputation preceding them to every world. And somewhere among the stars, Sergeant Maria Santos continued her mission, carrying the memory of fallen friends and the knowledge that when humanity took aim, the universe learned to duck.